The National is awesome, but I'm going to be the first one to say that it is not the best show out there.
I think the biggest thing that everyone wants to talk about is like pricing and like how difficult it was to buy cards, especially on the show floor, even with like the number of dealers that there were. If you're going to come out and put your name and your brand on a post that says the dealers were too high, like you need to put your money where your mouth is too. And at your booth, your stickers better be in line. Like card show is supposed to be about connection. And I think like you really don't have the opportunity to do that. Like, or build a connection or have a conversation with somebody on the other side of a table.
The VIP room was definitely an awesome place that they should keep doing. I mean, parking was atrocious. Paying $60 a day to maybe get parking. This little VIP tray night, if you want to talk about the VIP tray night, because everyone's not going to get a wristband, you know? Yeah. And even if you're not the first 300 people in line, you won't even get a table.
I found myself constantly questioning like whether or not I was having fun at the National. I don't know if I'm having any fun right now.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about PSA?
That's crazy.
I overall love the show. At the same time, I personally wouldn't even put it on my top 3. I think everyone deep down would say to themselves that this is not a top 3 show, but at the same time, you have to go because it's the National. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. It was brutal. I mean, the walking you do, I mean, it is crazy how hot that market is right now. What's up, everybody? We just conquered the biggest thing ever. The National 2026 was absolutely crazy. And so we thought we would kind of trial something here with a talk and takeaways and just stuff to get off our chest, and people can comment how we thought about the National. So if you want to say a couple things first.
Yeah, I mean, this coming 2 weeks after Fanatics Fest, just the sheer number of people. I mean, I think everyone's seen the lines. There were lines to get in the building. There were lines to get on the escalator. There were lines to get from room to room. I got lost multiple times. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that everyone wants to talk about is pricing and how difficult it was to buy cards, especially on the show floor, even with the number of dealers that there were. I think the big memes coming out of this are just the prices on things. Everyone's taking shots at how high the prices were on a lot of these cards, and I think that's one of the things that we want to attack and we want to really talk about and what our thoughts were there.
I mean, personally, I think it kind of goes half and half. I don't think it's the vendor's fault or the person trying to buy the card's fault on high pricing. I honestly do think most of that obviously is the market right now. Everyone's high on cards. I mean, we go to the VIP trade room, which is non-vendors, and they're still asking 110% comps for their cards as well. Just like the vendors are sometimes asking overpriced. We all ask sometimes the moon on cards, and sometimes we lowball and offer 80%. And no one should get mad about that. I do think in some cases, though, pricing these downtowns, kabooms, silver prisms, or the hot topic Brady chromes that have peaked, and those were awesome cards. We bought those a few weeks ago, but the highest sell ever and still pricing at 20% over that, I do think is a little crazy. I think pricing downtowns and kabooms at absurd number at 120% when they comp every week is a little crazy. But besides that, I do think we can't get a deal on everything, especially as a vendor that's setting up, coming here Tuesday, working their asses off, basically, and paying a lot of money for a table. We can't expect to get cards for 80, 90%. I mean, that's just not how the market is, and especially how hot the market is, you can't expect that.
Yeah, and I think, the way to solve this problem isn't going to be to bully dealers into, submission. I think the way that we're looking at it right now is that it's just a dealer issue and a dealer problem, and everyone who sets up is just out to get everyone and trying to make as much money as possible, which I think is the goal. I think a couple things. I think it is funny to see that the loudest voices talking about how high the prices are also people who price their cards extremely high.
For sure.
Those are really the loudest voices right now. I think when just the environment that we're in right now, even at the National, even when there's hundreds of vendors and hundreds of people there to buy cards, there are lines out the door or across the show floor for, call it 6 or 7 major, whether it's a braking company or whatever, who they know are going to buy their cards for 75, 80%.
Yeah.
And maybe it's an education thing, but when that happens, every other dealer in the National needs to do something to keep up from like a profitability and a margins perspective. And typically the best way to do that is to sell potentially less cards, but make more of a margin on it based on how their pricing is. I don't know how they sell these cards or who the people are that are buying them. Maybe we're just too close to it, like, and too understanding of like what the market is, but it's just interesting.
I think it comes down to a balance though, right? Like, I also think as a vendor and as a business, you have to sell cards. I mean, to pay for the table, to pay for the hotel. Not everyone is from around here. Probably 60, 70% of the vendors are not from the Chicago area, maybe not even from the Midwest area. So you still have to sell cards to pay for your hotel, pay for your flight, or, you know, whatever, drive down and pay for your table. So I still do think it's a balance of, you know, pricing some cards high and also pricing others at a competitive price. Like, that's how you have to run a business. I mean, it goes both ways. You don't want to sell all your cards for lower and never have cards, which we have had problems with before. But at the same time, you don't want to just sit on every single thing and then at the end of the week be at, you know, 5 sales when everyone else is at 100.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I think too, like the national, it's like most of the time, like with dealer setups, the national's like kind of the NFL where like everyone who sets up at the national is like the top dealer at their hometown local show.
Yeah. I mean, you'll definitely see, you know, 20% of the dealers that are maybe new or don't have as much stuff, but like the other 80% of the dealers here are for sure people that do this full time, have 6 figures of inventory. You know what I mean? Like, they definitely know the market. They're not a guy that's doing this, you know, just on the side and wants to set up on a Sunday for fun. You know, you work with people that are more competitive, you're not going to get as good of a deal. To branch out into the conversation, what did you think overall of, like, you know, the show, like the, you know, how packed it was, and just like how it was overall set up, like the venue?
Yeah, I mean, I think like it again, just for this venue, the number of people involved this year, it just overwhelmed the entire like logistics of everything.
Yeah,
parking was crazy.
100%.
Traffic was crazy.
Yeah.
Getting in the building was crazy. I think where the miss is like a card show is supposed to be about connection, and I think like building relationships with others, and I think this is an opportunity to meet people from kind of all over, and you really don't have the opportunity to do that, like, or build a connection or have a conversation with somebody on the other side of the, like a table, whether or not it's about like buying a card or like maybe just talking about kind of what they have inventory wise. Because if you're doing that, you're putting them in a spot where they're missing out on sales, and it's hard to even get to the table to do that. By the time you get to the table, you have to have your mind made up about like what it is that you're going to do there. But yeah, I mean, it clearly shows that like there are a lot of people interested in the hobby right now. There are a lot of people across all sorts of like education levels on. I mean, everybody there knows, regardless of like how many cards they have, buy Ohtani, buy Kobe, buy MJ, buy LeBron.
Yeah,
like,
the goats.
Exactly. Buy Brady.
I mean, I parking was atrocious. Paying $60 a day to maybe get parking was definitely brutal. You know, and Ubers, you're going to pay the same price. You know, getting out of the place, like, I think, you know, for having done this now back-to-back years in Chicago, and knowing how crazy the hobby is, I feel like maybe they could have done a little better job of like figuring out parking, because like the parking is just a mess in this area. Like, you got 2 parking garages and that is like basically it, unless you were at like a hotel that's like 0.1 miles away and you get to park in their parking lot. That's your only 2 options, unless you Uber. So that definitely sucked. You know, it is crazy. I mean, Thursday, packed, like line out of the roof. Like, someone came at 6 a.m. in the morning to line up. That's nuts. I mean, it was packed every day where like you couldn't even walk. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands of people in a room. I mean, this has to be a record-breaking year for just how many people was in the hobby for sure. But yeah, I mean, like you said, like the National is awesome, but I'm going to be the first one to say that it is not the best show out there. There is a lot more better shows to actually connect with people, whether it's finding a deal, whether it's selling a card, or just like having an enjoyable time. And this is why I put so much love and appreciation into the Dallas Card Show, because I feel like they run it the best, and just how it's set up. Like, the trade nights, another massive thing. I mean, the hotels, which I understand, people want to do all these trade nights and, you know, stay till 2 a.m., but then everybody trashes it. So we've got to have a happy balance of, you know, why won't hotels let us in? Because people are not respectful of the place. But there should be a hotel as well that, figures out, hey, like, you've known this for a year, let's make this the spot. And like, if people trash it, then you have security guards, just like Dallas does, and they get kicked out if they are not respectful. You know what I mean? I think that's how you should run it, instead of just jamming people in this little VIP train night. I mean, if you want to talk about the VIP train night, because everyone's not going to get a wristband, and even if you're not the first 300 people in line, you won't even get a table, So if you want to talk about that a little more, I mean, that's crazy as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like you said, like I posted a video earlier in the week about like I found myself constantly questioning like whether or not I was having fun at the National. And like, you're at the National, like you feel like you need to be having fun and you need to be doing something at all times, or it's like a waste of a trip.
Yeah.
I think like by the end of the week, like you definitely feel more like engaged. So like by Friday and Saturday, I feel like I was questioning it less, but like there were times on Thursday where I was like, I don't know if I'm having any fun right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's like I mean, all weekend, I mean, yes, it's a nut show and you can make a lot of money. But at the same time, like our cameraman Sam that's recording this right now said, it's all about timing, right? Like, you could go to one vendor and show them your cards, or just like a person. It could be a person vendor, and like the right offer is not there. Like, you get 80% offer, and then the next person you show pays 110%, and you've shown these cards to people all day, and that one person pays it. So like, this show has everyone there, right? Like, that you can have any card. There's a card for everyone. But at the same time, when people say that you can find every card, I disagree with that statement as well. I mean, we were looking for Luke Skywalkers all weekend. We're buying those heavy. Those are awesome cards, just for us, and we only found 2. So
yeah.
It's almost to a point like the show floor, you're either gonna have to like compact it and make it bigger somehow, like more space in between like every, I guess, like row, because it's impossible to walk. You know what I mean? I mean, the hobby and the technology that we should have nowadays, I feel like there has to be a better way to get that done. Yeah. Do you want to talk about PSA?
That's crazy. I got here. I wasn't here Wednesday. By the time I got here, I wasn't here for the day Wednesday. Basically by the time I got here Wednesday night, like PSA was already in a spot where they were saying like,
yeah, we're
no more. It is crazy that like for as many, like, call it negatives as they have thrown out there over the course of the last couple of months, whether it's
upcharges,
pausing value grading, wait times continuing to extend, missing deadlines, like the more of those things that happen, like the less impact it has on the brand.
For sure.
Like, to me, it's like if Beckett and SGC and CGC and Tag and whatever, these grading companies, like if they were going to see a spike in value, like if the cards that you have in those other grading slabs were to accrue additional value, like it would have happened at this point. And it feels like those just continue to go down even.
Yeah, I mean,
PSA continues to go up.
I think repackers are also bring a lot into that. You know what I mean? Like these repackers and these people that are like buying cards to send to their repackers, they don't buy BGS anymore. So when a repacker stops buying BGS, that takes a lot of people out of the game, and then they can't sell it, and then the market's obviously going to go down.
I mean, there were people who were still trying to talk themselves into, like, I heard multiple people come up to me and have conversations around like the lowest grading cost for PSA by the end of the week was like $4.99 or $5.99 or whatever.
And you might not even guarantee you get it back.
Not even guarantee. People had $400 cards that maybe would 2x. So they're worth $800, and they still were deciding whether or not to pay the $500 to grade it, so it would be in a PSA slab.
No one wants to buy raw.
10, Oh yeah, no one wants to buy raw.
It doesn't matter what it is. It could be the best card in the world, and no one wants it raw. But yeah, I mean, the show is just absolutely crazy. We had a great weekend. We saw a lot of stuff happen. Some good things, some bad things. But I mean, we bought some awesome cards. I'm just gonna say it now. Even as a Caleb Williams fan and a Bears fan, I think I've done this at other shows as well, going out of state. All these people like buying Caleb Williams to bring them to the show this week, I personally think there was too much, and so no one wanted to buy it anymore. Yeah. And that's like a thing that the market, that's how the hobby reacts. When there's a lot out there, no one wants to buy it, and when there is none available, everyone wants to buy it. So. We were fortunate to buy some really awesome Caleb Williams this weekend. Don't know what we're going to do with all of them yet, but I saw multiple people trying to get rid of their Caleb Williams cards, not because the market's down, just because there was so many of them.
Yeah. They were in Chicago. And,
yes,
you know, like,
and there was also a million Fleer Jordans this weekend, a million Brady Chromes. You know, so I overall love the show. At the same time, I personally wouldn't even put it on my top 3. I think everyone deep down would say to themselves that this is not a top 3 show, but at the same time, you have to go because it's the National, and you know, we're all going to make these Instagram posts saying this is the best place, the hobby's amazing, the best show ever.
Yeah.
You know, we were booming. You know, we're all going to say it, but deep down in our hearts, we know that it's very stressful and it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. Honestly, like, people that don't do cards, there's some weekends that I enjoy cards, and I enjoyed myself this weekend, but it was brutal. I mean, the walking you do, I mean, it's awful.
Yeah.
So by this week, definitely, I've heard a lot of people say they're like sleeping for like 3 days in hibernation. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, I just think, like, again, just to go back, like, my fear coming out of this weekend is that the entirety of the narrative is going to be dealers are too high, we can't buy any cards, whereas I think, like, the focus needs to be to, like, combat that problem. The focus needs to be on education of, like, everyone who's coming into these shows, especially, like, those who are newer, to maybe branch out and try to test the waters in terms of, like, where you're selling cards, so it's not just, they're not just all going to the same place.
Yeah.
And I think, like, if you're going to come out and put your name and your brand on a post that says the dealers were too high, like, you need to put your money where your mouth is too. And at your booth, your stickers better be in line. Like, it can't be, again, like in the video I put in earlier, like, you can't set these expectations and put them on everybody else and then not follow them yourself. So
do you think there's too many people in the hobby at this point? And I talk about, like, just new people that maybe, I'm not saying they're hurting the hobby, but since they're uneducated in the hobby, it's affecting the hobby. I mean, buying and selling.
I don't think there's too many people in the hobby. I think there's maybe too many people who, I guess, are, like, especially in this environment, are stretching themselves and maybe buying outside of their budget or outside of their price range. I think there are potentially
get rich fast.
Like, there are some who I think there's a lot who get involved in breaks and some of these other things, who, like, have cards, who, like, think the values on them are higher than what they potentially are, and, like, that's not 100% on them either. Like, that's the system manipulating.
I've heard multiple people come up to me and be like, "Can you buy this for this?" And it's like, it has all these comps, but they're like, "This is one of the best cards, and this box cost me $1,500." Like, that's just how the market. Like, it doesn't matter. I will personally say I'm going to do a couple takeaways, and if he wants to say anything else, and then we will leave you be. You can leave some comments down below. Let me know your guys' thoughts. My first takeaway is I don't see someone paying $200 for an NBA sticker and the premium go up 10% on the card for a little sticker, right? And you know what? Maybe vintage, okay? But these guys are NBA gold diamonding freaking 2023 downtown PSA 10 that is a pop 300. That card doesn't get a premium. Like, that's an eye appeal card. I see people putting gold diamonds on green kabooms and 101 finites. How does that make sense? There's only one of them or two of them ever made. So that's my first takeaway. My second takeaway is I think that the VIP room was definitely an awesome place that they should keep doing. And this is, I'm going to take this farther than just the buying and selling of deals. You know, sometimes you need to relax and chill out, and you can't just walk the show floor at all hours. And so, yes, you pay a little more, but it's just awesome to, you know, maybe get some food or, you know, have a drink or something and relax. And there is deals in there as well. I thought there was a lot to do at the National. I do think this show is starting to get a little more commercialized. Like, every time, you know, I've been for this is my third year going now. In 2024, there was no Whatnot booth. Like, there was no, like, whole, like, section for that. You know, it was just cards. And yes, that's awesome, but, like, I feel like we're getting sometimes out of, like, the collector space. We all want to have fun. Like, I do this to make money. Yes, you do this to make money, but we also want to have fun. And that's the main thing that matters. And I totally agree with you. I mean, I've questioned myself all weekend if I wasn't doing something 24/7 of, is this a waste of a trip, or hey, what am I doing wrong? And yes, it was an awesome trip, but I'm not going to say it was fun. Like Fanatics Fest, it was fun.
Yeah.
You got to look at cards, buy cards, see celebrities, do awesome things, and it was just an awesome Superior show. But I did have a great time, met a lot of people, bought a lot of cards, sold a lot of cards. So I enjoyed the whole weekend. I think the market from here, I still think there's a lot of things that are going to go up in value. I just think some of these chromes and not even Brady, just anything that is not rare. I think if you get caught with them for too long, I think you're going to lose on them.
Yeah.
And I think the rare stuff is going to continue to keep going up in value because the supply and demand is there. And last thing, and I'm done. The Disney market is absolutely nuts right now. I've never seen anything like it. Shout out to Disney. Like, I love watching the movies and stuff. Never done it. And I'm going to try to start buying Disney, start learning it, because it is crazy how hot that market is right now. I saw multiple vendors this weekend that were just heavily Disney. 2 years ago, you wouldn't see that. So that was pretty awesome. That is my takeaways. Any last takeaways for you?
Yeah, I think it's important. Like, there's a ton of momentum coming out of the last couple of weeks between Fanatics Fest and then now. I think it's important that everyone stays positive. I think it's important that everyone within the hobby is kind to each other and not
for sure
using their platform or their clout or whatever to create or spread any sort of negativity. I think it is important to question things and say hey, we need to do this better.
I agree.
But
you shouldn't call someone out for their cards being at 110% or them offering 80%, because we all do it. I mean, we shoot for the stars, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But you don't have to hate on that, personally.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to as we continue to see these big events, support your local card show, support your local card shops, those within the hobby who take care of you, take care of them. And let's use this let's use some of these things as some lessons learned and some teachings that we can use to make the next 6 months better and next year's national better too. So that's all I got.
Thank you guys for watching. We're going to try to do this, maybe once a week or once every other week, just to talk about the market, talk about the hobby in general. And, we'll see how it goes. But let us know down below, if, ask us questions and we'll try to answer them. There's always something new every week. So have a good night and happy National 2026.